Global attention has recently been drawn to a patent limitation measure in the United States. According to this law, Chinese companies on the entity list should not be allowed to get US patents and should lose their capacity to use their patents if they are thought to pose a danger to US national security. The bill was approved by the House Judiciary Committee 240 to 0 votes. Does Huawei have a special target in this bill? Would over 20,000 patents held by Huawei, including those pertaining to 5G, automatically become invalid if implemented? Everyone is quite uncomfortable and has this question on their minds a lot. Might the United States' actions ultimately cause them greater harm than their enemies? In the United States, how could a measure like this pass the vote? Does this just represent a willful act or an emotional outburst? This clause really renders Chinese inventive enterprises' patent rights in the US essentially void. Remarkably, Huawei is the owner of more than 20,000 US patents. At this point, the US has denounced and stating clearly that, hey, all your patents are now invalid. The question isn't if it will happen, but rather when the US will take China's assets by force. It was like a thunderbolt that took the US by surprise when Huawei abruptly announced the Kirin 9000 CES and Mate60 Pro 5G range of smartphones after remaining silent for some time. The fact that this isn't simply any new smartphone should not be overlooked. The United States finds it incomprehensible that Huawei has grown in strength despite their year-long boycott of the firm. The internal chip of the Huawei Mate60 Pro 5G smartphone is made using a 7-nanometer technique and is totally created in China independently, according to information made public by official media. From the American point of view, no matter how hard they tried, they were unable to predict this result. After all, without sophisticated photolithography equipment and state-of-the-art manufacturing techniques, the Netherlands ASML, the largest producer of photolithography equipment worldwide, and TSMC, the largest chip manufacturer globally, are both firmly under US control. The inevitable result of the chip war, according to one American economist, is that China will need to invest a lot of resources, particularly human resources, in order to catch up with the ready-made technology of the West. There may be two distinct chip supply chains in the world, one controlled by the West and the other by China. It's crucial to remember that if anything is manufactured in large quantities in China, the price will undoubtedly drop. The Western cake, which it used to eat with such ease, is getting smaller now. The United States does not wish to see this result. The US has come up with another tactic. Even though they still don't know how Huawei built its Kirin 9000S 5G CPUs. Since Huawei is the owner of several US patents, why not file a law to nullify all of those patents and cut off their lifeblood? Indeed, Huawei possesses a sizable portfolio of patents. Over 11,000 valid approved patents were held by Huawei worldwide as of 2022, with over 90% of them being innovation patents. Huawei has amassed more than 20,000 recognized patents in the US among these patents. Thus, the US Congress moved rapidly to approve a measure that would invalidate patents. It appears that in the US, the rule of law is to make a law out of nothing, then make it legally binding. Patents are a crucial tool for a nation that depends heavily on technology and finance. The US was able to exert pressure on China because to its large patent portfolio. Still, they are the first to invalidate patents as they can no longer compete with China when they become aware of China's progressive advantage in patent regulations. Developed nations have erected this technical barrier in order to maintain their unwavering control over less developed nations and to keep them as their indentured servants for all time. Intellectual property laws do not apply to the United States in the slightest because of its obvious predominance. I can take from you, but you can't stop me, according to the supposedly worldwide regulations. You can't travel west, I can only make you go east. It is seen as a disturbance of the current international laws. The US wants to be in the game and on the referee side of things. Patents are a type of intellectual property rights that provide authors a term of exclusivity to shield their works from unapproved use or duplication. This may not be known to everyone, because patent protection guarantees that inventors will profit from their creations. More creativity and research are stimulated. Similarly, patent laws serve to protect the creative works of individuals, such as books, music, and software. Authors and creators rely on copyright protection to safeguard their intellectual property, and in return for this protection, they contribute to the cultural and artistic wealth of society. Rights could be annulled by a simple majority vote. It would jeopardize the incentive for creators to invest time and resources in producing innovative and original content, ultimately undermining the purpose of copyright protection. Imagine you create something amazing, like a super advanced gadget. You get a special paper called a patent that says, "Hey, no one else can copy this for 20 years. Now someone in the US says, "Nah, your patent is worthless," meaning others can steal your idea. It's like someone robbing your hard work. China and the US often argue about protecting ideas. The US has made a ton of money globally by patenting cool stuff, especially in tech and medicine. They've built strong walls to keep others from copying their inventions. If the United States decides to go after patents held by Chinese companies, China could retaliate by invalidating American patents and freely copying their exclusive products. In simpler terms, if this happens, the US won't be able to use its patents to make money at the expense of others. The US has consistently tried to limit China's progress through various means. When the US sees that China isn't making significant advancements, it imposes restrictions, like disabling GPS navigation for China's Galaxy spacecraft. When China shows progress, the US responds with bills like the Wolf Amendment to limit China's growth in aerospace. Faced with China's advancements, the US resorts to questionable tactics, rushing to pass laws to nullify China's hard-earned patents. Before visiting China, Raymond warned Huawei about high-tech development, but during his visit, Huawei unveiled the Mate60 Pro with the Kirin 9000S chip, embarrassing Raymond. The property system, mainly shaped by the West, benefits them in medicine and technology. China excels with its robust manufacturing and full industrial chain, less bound by patents. Who will come out on top? Share your thoughts on Chinese tech development after watching our video. Share your thoughts on Chinese tech development after watching our video. Your likes and subscribes motivate us to create more content.